all those details about Chris Kaba's violent past, they were kept from the jury during the trial. The judge had said, quite simply, they just weren't relevant to the case that they were looking at. The case was about whether the firearms officer, Martyn Blake, had acted appropriately. And also, it should be said, Mr Blake didn't know the identity of the person in the car at that moment as well. So in that sense, it sort of wasn't relevant. A group of journalists and lawyers, they argued in court for these details to be made public in the name of open justice. That was granted this morning. And a senior police officer has backed the move in the last few hours, Dan. This is the Met Police Deputy Assistant Commissioner Stuart Cundy. He says the public release of these details is actually a good thing, these details about Chris Kaba's gang links. He thinks it will reduce the chance of disorder breaking out now that people have greater context about the person involved.
Met police officer who shot Chris Kaba, cleared of murder. A Metropolitan Police marksman has been acquitted of murdering unarmed driver Chris Kaba, following a 3-week trial at London's Old Bailey. Jurors took almost 3 hours to find Martyn Blake, 40, not guilty of murder. Martyn Blake insisted the shooting was lawful, proportionate and necessary after he feared for his safety and that of his fellow officer.
Can I be honest with you? This has messed me up. You see, growing up, people used to play cops and robbers when we were kids. What if you don't want to be a cop? What if you don't want to be a robber? What if you want to be a regular bystander? You don't want to be involved in that street life, but you don't want to be involved in law enforcement. What if you're like most of us, you're just in the middle? So when you hear that the police pop out someone in their head, you feel shocked. And when you hear that there was a nightclub, pow pow, you feel shocked. And you say, I don't really want to be a part of this. And now because you're black, some supposed leaders, they speak for you and you say, do you know what? I don't want to be involved in this. Whatever happened, it reflects badly on us. What if that's your position?
Officer Martyn Blake has been found not guilty for the murder of Chris Kaba. We need you, our community, all concerned citizens who think that the police should be held accountable for their actions and should not be allowed to kill with impunity. We urge you, gather with us here today outside the Old Bailey at 7 p.m. Chris's family need your support now more than ever as we receive this devastating news. We understand that for us as a black community in particular, our lives still mean nothing to this system. But to each other, we mean everything, and we will continue to fight. So come and join us today at 7 o'clock outside the Old Bailey.
I think we're defo at a place where there's a lack of trust in the institution. Obviously, at this moment in time, I'd obviously like to pay my respects and, hope that we get some justice for Chris Kaba and his family as well, because you have to remember...
think justice has been done there?
I don't think justice has been done. I don't think that, the police, they're good at villainising a person, turning people against a person, and then using that to, feel like they can go into any scenario and kind of, execute a person without any repercussions. I think they talk about split-second moments in scenarios, stop and searches, or hard stops, as they call them. But these things are planned. They're detailed operations, and you're trained, and you go through, which I would hope, a due process to get to that point where you're able to be on the field. And I mean, for you to be a trained professional, it doesn't allow you to assassinate someone or execute someone. Do you know what I'm saying? I just don't understand how we get to that point. And I guess only until there's there's some form of independent judicial system are we going to be able to see justice. Because if the police are policing the police, we're never going to get the results that we want.
I don't know how to begin this sensitive video, expecting that racial tensions, are brewing in England. Racial tensions, brewing in England. But what's interesting is because a black officer killed what they said was a criminal. Okay, Chris Kaba, but what's interesting is that, number one, they claim that the police didn't know who he was, etc. If the police knew who he was and his gang affiliation and his gun past, then naturally they're going to be afraid, because the police are not really tough individuals. They see a banana and they think it's a gun. Okay, I'm surprised they're not that strong-minded. If I was to become a police officer, I would make sure that I'm not afraid of anything. Okay, but police, for some reason, they tend to be hypersensitive. But that's not the issue. They didn't know who he was. Okay, however, they saw someone who was not abiding, by the instructions. He refused to come out of a car, etc., and shots were fired. In the court, the judge made sure that the jury didn't even know his criminal past. You would think that the prosecution would say, look, right, please submit, because they're probably scared that he's going to get off with it. So they say, please submit his criminal past so the jury can see what he's done. But the judge says no. Let the jury look at the case independently. Don't bring up his criminal past, which is long, okay? However, the jury found, the black police officer not guilty. And as a result, the black community is, sort of sent a £10,000, bounty to kill another black person. It's black and black crime all over again. Have you ever heard of a black person sending a bounty against a white officer? No. It's the black community's way of, it's this tokenism of protecting black criminals. This is why racism of this kind will never go away. The whole community come together, not for black business, not for black unity. You ask any black person, is there such a thing as black unity? Unanimously, black people say no, there's no such thing as black unity. But it's interesting, when it comes to protecting, quote unquote, black thugs, black criminals, then suddenly there's black unity. That's the only time when you see black people coming together is to protect thugs, criminals, and gangster rappers. Oh, I'm traumatized. Look, black and black killings traumatize me every day. I don't see any black family, any black churches saying, something, let us clean up our act. When I see black people killing each other on the streets, black youths, that traumatized me. Seeing one that looks like me killing himself purely because you're black, that's racism. But that's okay, because black and black killings, that's okay. I'm not justifying any police officer killing unarmed black person. I'm not justifying, I'm just showing the toxic black culture. We come alive when it comes to protecting black criminals. The same as Mark Duggan, criminal past, gangster past. But somehow we're trying to paint them as angels. And that's why black men are dying on the streets, because we're protecting them. We're protecting wrongs. And who did they brought on the TV? Another rapper. Rap music is destroying the black community, and it's ironic that they brought a rapper to talk about, oh, well, I'll let you know, what does he rap about? The church has failed the black community. There's no black businesses, right? Whenever they start to riot, when they start to go take to the streets, the only thing that go hand in hand is looting. You see thousands of people rioting, Black Lives Matter, and they're kicking off doors of hard-earned business owners, as if they got anything to do with the injustice. Nothing more than opportunity to steal Versace, steal Calvin Klein, nothing more than opportunity to steal cigarettes, booze and wine. Golden opportunity to act out a thuggish life, protecting another thug. I'm not justifying what happened. I'm telling you the psychology of the black community. We don't wake up to open a bank together. We don't wake up to start a business together, a supermarket together, a chain of businesses. We don't give a damn about that. The Bible says, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. In the black community, we're good at that. We're very good at calling good evil and evil good. Look at our comedies, you know, in the 1980s and 90s, how we celebrated black thugs, black criminals. Look at that DVD, Pimps and Hoes. And we laugh and we celebrate the pimping life. This is our psychology, and we've never broken away from that demonic past. Now a £10,000 bounty, not on the white officers, never. Not that I'm justifying it, but it's interesting. They want to kill another black person. It tells you our anger is fake and superficial. If you're so angry, why don't you put your money into a black business? You ain't gonna do it. Why don't you start a chain of black businesses and put out the white business? You ain't gonna do it. Why don't you compete with the Muslim community and the Sikhs? But you ain't gonna do it. But you protect black thugs. You won't hear Candice Owen talking like this. You won't hear Kemi Bushnell talking like this, because what is spirit is spirit, and what is flesh is flesh. The black community, our disloyalty is strong, stronger than a Titanic ship. But you know something? When it comes to criminals, we come alive like vampires in the night. We come alive looking for blood. We don't mind that. But building black businesses, we're not interested in. Interested, isn't it? A £10,000 bounty on the black officer's head. The first time ever someone threatened to kill an officer for killing an unarmed man. Yet, in history, when white officers have done it, black people are quiet, go looting. You see the contradiction? They're punishing that black officer for being black, for serving in the forces, not for what he did. Their behavior is contradictory. Prove me wrong and support black business tomorrow. Prove me wrong and go to college and university and better yourself and compete with white people. Prove me wrong and compete with Sikhs. Prove me wrong and compete with the Chinese community. The Chinese community have the highest IQ ever. Compete with them and prove me wrong, but you can't. Do you know why? The kingdom cannot divide against itself. Your nature will stop you from building the black business. Your nature is so devilish, you can't do it. Please show me another video like this. Show me, and I'll give you £100. Show me another video of hot truth, red pill, and I will give you $100 to pay your bills.